Welcome to week 7 of the Bill Nice's Coaches Show. I'm your host, Chip Hare. Again, this show is brought to you by Edison State Community College and Employee Bridge. Coach, big win the other day for a couple of reasons. One, most important, a win again on the tally for the Indians, win number 6. But it was also win number 700 for the program. We talked a little bit about that last week in the show. One of those scores, you look in the newspaper, you look online, you hear it on television, you don't get the full scope of what the score was. Final score 77-0. Indians really did dominate from the beginning of it, but it was a game where we really did try to keep the game in check, and certainly sportsmanship was had by the Indians, and I think Fairborn acknowledged that.
Exactly. You know, the first half, with 5 minutes left in the half, we decided to go and put our JVs in, and I don't know that I could remember ever having JVs play in the first half of a game before. And anyway, we put the JVs in, and the JVs did a great job, and they went down the field and scored. And so got together, and I commend you and the people from Fairborn got together and worked out some situation, and we knew we were going to have a running clock, so we shortened the thing down a little bit too. And I think on the other hand, we were able to we took the clock down as long as we could in a lot of occasions, and were able to get some plays. And the thing is, though, our sophomores and juniors, our JV guys, and a couple of our seniors, we wanted to make sure they got some playing time, but we also knew that we had that JV game the next day. So I think everybody was in a good situation by the time we left the game, and then we went down the next day, and our JVs played a terrific game down there and won another game. So our JVs have won 3 in a row now also.
Coach, that when you look at the part about the JVs getting in, the invaluable experience that you get to play on a Friday night under the lights versus a Saturday morning is different. It's just a different feel. So you can say you got a lot of things or a little, this and that out of it, but for our JVs, that has to be invaluable moving forward in their career, not just this year.
Yeah, it is. And they come out and they practice as hard as everybody else, probably more so because they have to do the unpopular task of being on the scout team, being on the simulation team. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of practice, when the varsity goes in to watch film, then they stay out and have practice of their own. Yeah. And so they're doing double duty, and any chance we get we get an opportunity to get them in the game, we'd love to do that, and hopefully that can happen every week.
Indians get win number 700 for the program, and Coach talked a little bit about that last week and what schools are in that category. Some pretty impressive ones. Massam, Washington, Canton, McKinley, Steubenville, you had mentioned. Mm-hmm. Now the Indians are in that conversation. 700, that's certainly a milestone for the school, but for our guys and coaches to be a part of that had to be special. It
is. It's good. It's going to be great, and if we can keep it going, the pressure's on now to keep it going and to stay relevant into that area and not give up your spot, not get passed by some people, because there's some people that are close. I mean, there's some teams on our schedule that are within maybe 20, 25. They'll be celebrating their 700 win sometime in the next year or so. So if they keep things rolling. So for right now, it's nice, but you always want to keep moving. Anytime you break a record, you sit and enjoy it for a second, and then all of a sudden you go, time to get moving, or else there ain't gonna be no more records.
Well, one statistic that you brought to my attention that I find very fascinating, not surprising when I think about it, but fascinating still, is that the 3 coaches that own 68% of those wins are obviously yourself, that is George Wirtz, and Chuck Asher, 3 coaches that are Hall of Famers here at Piqua. And, well, Coach, you were in 5 Hall of Fames. You're not quite in the Piqua one yet, but you're working your way. Yeah. I like your chances.
Okay.
But truly, it's got to be, that's an interesting and very fascinating statistic that 3 coaches for all the wins and all the wins that we've had at Piqua. That's pretty sweet.
It is, and it's kind of daunting for a coach when he comes in and already two of the former coaches are Hall of Famers, and when we're talking about the Ohio Hall of Fame, we're talking about Miami Valley Coaches Association Hall of Fame, we're talking about the Piqua Hall of Fame, and then you go down to Sydney and their names are on the plaque. So, there's some tall timber running around. Piqua's had, the opportunity, and you throw Steve Magto in there in that mix, and those are 4 guys that, Mags adds probably another, I think, 55 wins to that thing. So that adds up, quite a bit to 4 really good, eras of football. And I'm the caretaker of it right now, and hopefully,
sure,
as I said, we can keep things rolling in the right track.
Mags did have a great run there in the 80s and 90s, and you look at, there was some really, you started to see people, you talk about relevant, and you took the program over and it certainly took it to another level. Piqua football has been relevant for a lot of years. Now we've become relevant in a different era, and certainly 700, a great feat for the Indians.
It definitely is. I'm glad we were able to do it at home, and just have the whole thing. It was a nice deal, and stuff like this. When you get to that milestone, next thing you know, there's a poster out that's just an amazing, professionally done poster. I think Tom Heffelfinger and Paul were involved in each one of them had a poster involved. You look up on the Jumbotron, it's up there. A big announcement, and that's the thing. Everything that we do, that we get accomplished, from our facility to everything else, is just always handled in a first class manner, and that's really what I appreciate.
Probably should mention Tom Heffelfinger, former player of Piqua of yours, Paul Hines, a current senior, who, by the way, is on the sideline a lot with his camera, catching a lot of photos, behind-the-scene access for the Indians. Those are the small details, though, that really make it memorable, and we're grateful for those 2 guys being a part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Coach, turning the page, as we move forward to Greenville on Friday. The Green Wave, we head to Greenville. It seems like a long time since we've been there, and that's okay. We're going to roll the buses into the Ville on
We can
Friday,
head west. Yep.
and they're a good team. They're a lot of people think of Greenville. Last year they struggled, and they did, but they're a better football team than they were in 2020.
They are. They've got some outstanding players. I mean, when you look at the MVL stats, they've got the leading rusher in the league, averaging 8.5 yards a carry, has 16 touchdowns. Okay, so that grabs your attention right now. As soon as you turn on the film, you start to sweat. As soon as you see some of the action that takes place, they've got the fourth-ranked quarterback in the league in terms of pass percentages. Completes about 52% of his passes, and he is a good runner. 3 excellent receivers that mix the ball around pretty well, and so I think that offensively they've got a good if not great nucleus. Defensively, they've also got an excellent group of people coming back, a couple all-league players, and when you look at the scores, they were off just a little bit on a couple of occasions, but they played some excellent football teams along the way, and so I think their non-league schedule, their non-league opponents undefeated currently. And then they just got into the MVL play, and a couple plays away here or there from actually having a way better record than what they have.
Yeah, when you look at Greenville, and you've obviously been here a long time and have a long-standing rivalry with them. Whenever the Indians go to Greenville, they're always ready to go. What the records are, we have an outstanding record. Their record could be so-so. They're always ready for us. They're giving us their best shot.
Yeah, and I think on the other scale, I think when we go there, we are ready to give them our best shot. Also, I think we've got a nice little way of reversing stuff quite a bit and somehow convincing ourselves that everybody's our rival also. So we're heading west, and we've got this week's rival, which is going to be Greenville, and then next week we'll have another rival, and so forth and so on. So we like to find a reason that everything should be played, if not a trophy, if not this. And like I said before, you try to find little things. I don't know it makes a huge amount of difference, but it
motivates, gives a kid something to play for.
It gives people a chance during the course of the week, not just to walk around and not say anything, but to get people a little bit excited about what's going on, because you can never get bored with just doing the same thing. And football is so much fundamentals, so much repetitive over and over and over again, and you've got to be able to make sure that you're never tired of doing those fundamentals, that you find different ways to do those fundamentals, but it's still the same fundamentals.
Speaking of fundamentals, keys to the game for the Indians on Friday night on defense.
Well, on defense, we got to make sure we stop try to stop or keep that running back under control. He gets out in the open, he gets out in the field, and he's got numerous runs over 50, 60 yards. So we're trying to want to keep him bottled up as best we can, and that quarterback makes good decisions on the options. So we got to make sure we keep that well in hand. I think defensively, that's what we need to concentrate on.
Offensively, what can we expect to see from them on the defense
Well,
side?
our offense, looking at their defense, we've seen maybe about 3 different fronts that they're going to run, and what we've got to do is we've got to zero it in on what they're doing and make sure our blocking keys and our blocking assignments are correct as to what front we see and where we need to attack it, both from the press box and both from our players, on the field in terms of who needs to be blocked, where's the play happening, and what are the combinations and what type of combinations we're going to use.
Coach, for Piqua, I know you say week in and week out, big plays and turnovers. I've got to believe that's, again, and special teams is going to be an important part of this.
Well, this week it was 8-0 on big plays. It was 3-0 on turnovers, and we cut down our penalties from 11, 13, and 11 the last 3 games to 2. And both of those penalties were. There's one penalty that I don't count. I don't yell about the penalty, and that is if a defensive lineman goes offsides, because that means that they're anticipating the count and they want to come. Now, on occasion, if we have somebody do it twice in 2 plays in a row, then obviously we need we need to get disciplined and everything. But that's one thing. And so one of our things was we had one of our defensive linemen go offsides, and that happens sometimes.
Coach, as we move into the second half of the season, you and I have talked about this for the years. You get into week 6 and 7, you're getting into the grind, and this is the part where, like you talked about just a few minutes ago, keeping them mentally sharp, giving them things to look forward to, different things, because people do get caught up into the monotony of the season, and not just in Piqua. I'm just talking in general, and you can see it in some of the. In listening to some of the coaches, even in just reading articles, you can just tell for them some are just trying to keep it new and keep it fresh.
Yeah, and we try to do that in the weight room. We're big in the weight room, and our players, get in there, every day. Well, 3 days a week we get in there and lift. 4 days a week we're in there all together, and I think that's one of the big places. I also got to give, there's a lot of credit to the assistant coaches, because I think we've got a lot, 5 or 6 assistant coaches. Each one has a little different personality, and I think they're, forming very good relationships. I think we have good relationships with position coaches as well as crossover. Our offensive coaches talking to some defensive guys and defensive coaches. I know when I was in college, I played offense, but the most fun I ever had was talking to our defensive line coach, Larry Van Dusen, because I found him to be very entertaining. Yeah. And I think we have that here. So I think if we can keep that whole culture going, which we've always had, I think we'll be okay.
Coach, we certainly wish you guys luck as we roll into Greenville on Friday. I want to talk real quick, though, about Gio Barron, who is our senior spotlight wide receiver. Gio got in the end zone this past Friday. It was a good. He had been close a couple times. He actually got in against Troy and had a penalty called back, and then we're just almost probably maybe a centimeter away from the end zone at Sydney, and he finally got it in. Not just a touchdown, but Gio's been a part of the program through the years. Oh, he has, and he's one of those guys where I said, a while back, I said, in college, if you've got wide receivers that are willing to play on the on your special teams and not only play but excel, not that you just have to play them, you're in good shape. And he, along with Corey Miller, do a great job on our kickoff and our punt teams, both in terms of blocking, in terms of getting downfield. So, my hat's off to him. Really worked his butt off for the last 3 years. Run track, became a hurdler. I think that helped him a little bit, to continue on with the speed and more of a mental toughness. Hurdling is probably as hard a hard thing as it is when you're looking around, running around that track once, let alone jumping over something.
about every 10 steps or so. So I think that's helped him quite a bit, and he's got some great athletic ability. He can go up and get a ball, and his blocking has become 100% better.
Well, the weight room too has been helpful for him. You can tell.
Yeah, yeah. He definitely looks the part, and now he plays the part. And I think that's the biggest thing. That he goes up and gets balls now. And when the ball's in the air, he thinks it's his. Maybe when he was a sophomore, he'd go, I don't know if this is going to come to me or not. But now he goes up and gets it.
Yeah, you could tell he's certainly assertive and aggressive.
He's got some confidence.
Yeah, no question. Looking forward to seeing him continue to develop and grow, as he has been a big part of the Indians' arsenal on the offensive side. Coach, again, we wish you luck. All the best on Friday nights. We go to Greenville.
Thank you.
We will be back. We will meet Gio in the second half of the Bill Nices Coaches Show. Again, the show is brought to you by Employee Bridge and Edison State Community College. We'll be right back. Welcome to the second half of the Bill Nices Coaches Show, brought to you by Edison State Community College and Employee Bridge. And I'm going to have our senior introduce themselves and what position he plays.
I'm Gio Barron. I play wide receiver.
Gio, big win again. Indians get win number 6, 700 program-wide. Before we get into talking about the details of the season, what was it like as a player being a part of something like that, where you were part of 700 wins in school history, knowing that you're in the top 12 all-time winningest programs in the state of Ohio?
It's good. It's nice to be on a team with the guys that are on the team.
Yeah.
I've been playing with them since I was in like 4th grade.
Yeah.
So it's nice to keep going on the road.
We've had guys on here talk about that since they've been playing in youth, and your dad was a heavy part of that coaching staff, and then even coached you some a little bit in high school. But this group of guys have been together for a while, and the one thing that we've talked about that everyone seems to agree on is the chemistry amongst one another. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily all hang out together at the same time, but your chemistry on the field and even off the field is pretty strong.
Yeah.
What's your take from that? Why do you feel it's that way?
I feel it's that way because it's just been all these years that we've played with each other. We know how we play, who plays good, who slacks off a little bit,
and respects the differences.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. Well, Friday night was special for you, not only because we get 700 wins and the Indians get win number 6 in the season, but you get your first touchdown reception of the year. Talk a little about that play before it happened. Did you know the ball was coming to you? And really what that feeling was like when the ball was in the air?
When the play was called, I kind of figured it was going to come to me. So I went out there, ran the route. I saw the ball in the air, and I wasn't even really thinking. I just caught it and was just running. I wasn't really thinking about anything, looking to see if the defender was behind me, and he wasn't going to catch me.
Yeah, you look like when you caught the ball, my first thought was like the police was chasing you. You were you were going 100 miles an hour. Not that the police would ever chase you, but I mean it was like watching a movie of one of those scenes. Was that how it felt like? Hey, I'm just running. And I'm not looking behind me.
Yeah, I was looking to my left a little bit so I could see where he was, and like when I saw where he was, I knew he wasn't going to get me, so I just kept running.
Well, finally you got in the end zone because you've been real close.
Yeah.
We were at Troy and we get one call back because of a penalty.
Yeah.
We're at Sydney and you're about a yard short of getting on I think it was a 23-yard reception.
Yeah.
And you're just a little bit shy of the goal line, and it was nice to see you finally get in there. I know.
Oh yeah, it was nice. It was a great feeling.
Oh well, we were happy for you. Big win for the Indians, winning 6. I've heard the mantra week in, week out. That's just 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on it, I mean, yeah, it's 1 week at a time, but it's also like you got to look at like how can I be better every time I go out on the field?
Yeah. Well,
how can I contribute to the team?
Gio, you've really been able to go through. You've been through some challenges and you've answered those calls. Things haven't necessarily maybe stacked up the way, because last year you had quite a bit of competition. You're graduating seniors who were playing your position, and I'm sure there was some disappointment, but you hung in there and you kept working at it in the off season in the weight room, and I'm sure you feel like it's paid off for you.
Oh yeah, it's paid off a lot.
Coach talks a lot about just the week-by-week mantra, but he talks about making big plays. You're in a position where you can make big plays. What's that like, knowing that you're a guy that could, be that guy that can make a big play, and being ready? What's that like?
It's a good feeling. Like I missed a Monday practice because I wasn't feeling too good, and I came in the Tuesday and I did the lifts that I had to do on Tuesday, and also made up from the lifts that I had to do on Monday, and then came out and practiced and performed the best I could because I knew I missed a day, so I had to do my best.
Commitment level that people that probably don't know. What is the commitment level to play football? I mean, a lot of people say, hey, you come out on Friday night and they see you running out there. But from a player standpoint, what do you see as a commitment level?
A commitment level is like you have to put time into football. You can't just go out there and play football. You have to like always be thinking about football, always hardworking, and always just being the best you can.
Friday night was senior night, and you had an opportunity to walk out with your mom and dad. What was that like for you to be able to enjoy that moment of reflection, but also two people that obviously made a big impact? And I think that's exactly what they said that your parents, you owe a lot to your parents.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. Those are the two people who really got me into football. About like first, second grade. That's when I started, and then when we moved out here, I came to Piqua like late in third grade, so I didn't really play, and then I started fourth grade, and then just been an Indian ever since.
Well, obviously, goals, big things ahead, but the next thing ahead is Greenville. So for you, what does Greenville mean, and what does the Indians got to do from your perspective as a player to get prepared to play the Green Wave on the road?
We just got to keep coming out every day this week and practicing hard. Not worried about what their record is or anything, just worried about how we can become better each week.
Well, this season's, we certainly are wishing you well the rest of the season. And before we wrap up, though, we want to talk a couple things. I remember, my memory serves me correctly, you got some skills outside of just football. It's singing and a little rapping. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right, yeah.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about that. I don't know that the nation knows about that. You got an album, and you got a CD we can get on Apple Music, we can download it, anything?
I got a couple albums. I'm trying to work my way up.
Okay.
Just got to get...
What got you into that?
I don't know, honestly. I started writing songs in like 7th grade, but that was just like on my phone, never really did anything with it. And then I met one of my friends now. He lives in Indiana, and he makes music. He does good. He gets like thousands plus views. And I started trying it out one day, and I got into it.
All right. So that's maybe something we want to pursue down the road.
Yeah.
Speaking of down the road, graduation coming in June, actually end of May. You will be walking across the stage, getting your diploma. What's next for Gio? What's your plans post high school?
My plan is to either go into, try to get into Ohio University or Edison, go to school for 4 years, and then once I become 21, try to become a cop, going to law enforcement.
So criminal justice?
Yeah.
Okay. Hence the green Ohio football
sweatshirt.
All right. Well, we certainly wish you luck. This week, too, as the Green Wave awaits the Indians to roll into town. And we know you got a great future ahead of you, too.
Yeah, thank you.
This will conclude the Bill Neese's Coaches Show for Week 7, again brought to you by Edison State Community College and Employee Bridge. The Indians will be traveling to Greenville on Friday, kickoff at 7 p.m. Keep your eyes open for pictures and videos on the Indian Nation station. While not be live streamed, there probably will be some type of highlights coming your way, so please check those out. And of course, you can get game updates on the Piqua Athletics Twitter feed throughout the ball game. And hopefully the Indians will come in looking for win number 7 of the season. For Gio, I'm your host, Chip. We will see you next week on the Bill Neese's Coaches Show.